So how do we become unattached? Put the attention towards action, mostly on action, and enough of it on the people that are receiving the action, receiving the benefits of it, and the bare minimum on ourselves. And then now all of the basic functional stuff like food, shelter, having date night with our partners, we set up a system so then this way it runs automatically, so we don't have to spend so much attention on ourselves trying to better our life. Our life runs on automatic on the personal side, so then we can spend our time and our action and most of our energy taking action and make sure this action is providing value for the people we want to serve, whether this is family, kids, customers, friends, everybody outside of us. Now we don't get attached.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Mike, someone that has just recently come into my life, and we recorded a podcast interview for your show just a couple of days ago, and I had a smile from ear to ear for the entire rest of the day. I remember walking back into my villa, and Lauren, my wife, saw me just like glowing, beaming, and I was just like, that was the best conversation. So I'm going to set that expectation that we do that again today, Mike, and I appreciate you so much for being here, dude, because what I see you do, I admire and I respect so much, and the level of mastery and knowledge that you bring to what you do is impeccable. So I want to be able to highlight and dive into that today. So firstly, just thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Now,
excited.
When it comes to you actually getting here today, like when it comes to the journey that you've been through, what were the pinnacle turning points where it got you to actually be fascinated in the knowledge and in the mastery that you have now?
That's a great question. I think with everybody, there's got to be a need. There's got to be some type of problem, something that gets a person to go and do something, right? We all talk about the big why. Well, for me, learning about life and happiness and purpose, learning about how to know what is right, what's right to do, what's wrong to do. Because technically, once we're adults, we can pretty much do whatever we want. We're not under our parents' roof anymore. And what drove me was that I wasn't able to be happy. I wasn't really able to be satisfied. And similar to what we talked about, I experienced this level to where I don't have any real technical problems on the outside. And as far as the general things of money or friends, recognition, connection, it's all kind of there. All the material stuff is there. But yet, I was not happy. I was emotional all the time. I'm smoking all the time. And I knew that something was wrong, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't really talk about it because I was afraid that if I was to talk about this with other people would look at me and go, something's wrong with that guy because he just told me. So I can't say that. So then here I am kind of stuck in my own world, knowing that there's an issue, but trying my best to pretend that there's not. Mm. And I had an experience that basically allowed me to experience how it's like to not have issues at all. A freedom, a sense of liberation, total clarity of mind, non-existence of fear. And from there is when I realized there is definitely something more. And this experience that I had nothing to do with any type of level of success on the outside. Mm. And then from there, it's like, okay, well, I want to learn what happened. I want to learn exactly how I can maintain this state of peace and how I can show other people how to do it, because everybody wants to do it. I don't care if they tell me they want to or they know they want to. They want to, because we're all human and we all tick in very fundamental same ways.
So it's like an inert drive that we have is to go towards that feeling.
Yes.
Why do you think, I love that you bring up, and I really appreciate the humility as well of understanding I am having a problem and I'm not being able to talk about it, because if I talk about it, there are these consequences that I think that may happen that are going to be negative towards me. And I think that's very much why I struggled with that for so long, because having had depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, problems, it festers so much if I was keeping it inside. And then I also realized my best value to the world is by me being able to open up about this. And that's very much why I wanted to do this, why I want to have these conversations. One, selfishly, I want to have these conversations because I think this is like the most brilliant use of my time ever. I get so much out of it, but it's also then in my hopes that we're able to transmute something across for the listener to be able to practically use in their life as well. So when it comes to you having the experience, clarity, dare I say even an epiphany of how you felt in that moment, what has then happened for you to be able to practically apply what you've learned into your life? Like, what are those learnings? What are those teachings?
So practically apply. The first thing I realized is if I want to be happy, I need to understand what happy was, and to dive into it, to give a very clear answer so it's not too abstract. I need to feel good. That's the basicness of happiness. If I'm not feeling good, if I'm in pain, can I be happy? Technically I can, but in reality, it's very, very difficult. So I need to feel good. So feeling good means taking care of the basic foundations of getting enough sleep, eating good, moving. But then also the next level from there is, well, let's go ahead and take care of these emotions. If I am scared, if I am stressed, if I am worried, if I'm sad, I'm not going to feel good. So I need to go and let those emotions go. So this way I feel at peace. People think they want to be excited all the time. But in reality, if they're excited, they can't maintain that high energy for very long. If we ever think back on a day that we were really excited, you were exhausted by the end of the day. And for a lot of times you can't even make it half the day in full excitement. It's like everything's exciting and then you're like, I'm so tired. Yeah. I need a break. Nothing is wrong. I just need a break. I don't have any energy. It's like just turning the energy on full-blown high and blasting it. It's like we just went on a sprint, an energetic sprint. So when we're at peace, we let go of all the emotion and stuff, and now we are calm, we're relaxed. We can enjoy the moment. We can enjoy things. If we balance into a little excitement, we can come back into a default state of peace. I realized that's what I need to do, and how to do that. Body and mind. In the body, I need to let go of those emotions in my body, which basically means I need to relax. That's the simplest way to put it. In my mind, I need to be clear. Because if I'm thinking about problems, then they become real. When I stop labeling things as problems, there's only just situations that are happening. So then therefore, if I can clear my mind, then I'm not making up problems in my head. If I can relax in my body, then my body feels at ease. These are the most two very, very specific, practical things to be happy. This has nothing to do with spirituality. This has nothing to do with personal development, all this stuff. We can say this is just very, very practical things. If you want to feel good, you just relax and clear your mind and you'll feel better. The moment you're not relaxed, you're not feeling good. The moment your mind is racing too much, whether or not you're thinking about stuff that's going to move you forward or drama stuff, you don't feel good because it's too much. It's energetically draining. It's every time when we have a thought, there is a sense of feeling a lot of times attached to it, unless we have learned to detach from it completely. And most people have not. So they're just getting hit with these little mini emotions constantly with thoughts, especially because they're attached to the things that they want. They're attached to situations they want to create. So if someone goes, this is going to happen, they get a little dopamine hit, they get a little excitement. And then when they go, oh man, I'm running into a struggle, then there's a sense of stress that happens immediately. And this can happen within 20 seconds or bouncing because the thoughts are nonstop. So when we think about this nonstop stream of thoughts, if we are constantly attached to the outcome of the things that we want, we're either going to come up with thoughts that are going to make us happy or thoughts that are going to make us not happy because it never stops. The stream is constant. So if we had to constantly think about things that make us happy, we'd have to be really, really in control of everything around us. The people, the space, the weather, how people are interacting with us, what they are saying to us, what messages they're sending, and etc. It's a lot of control. And as we know, as entrepreneurs, control's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And not everybody let's say that again. Nobody wants to be controlled. You pay them enough, they go, fine, you can control me for a certain aspect of time because I'm paying you. Okay. But in reality, nobody really wants to be controlled. And when we are trying to control people, there's resistance. When there's not resistance, a lot of times they're a yes man. And you don't want a yes man on your team. You don't want a yes man wife.
Yeah.
Because she can't support you. You're having to go and pull her along.
Yeah.
She's a follower. So then you don't have yes mans around. You have people that are free thinkers and they don't want to be controlled. And those are the actual people you want to have in your life on your team. So you guys are actually contributing to each other. It's not a one-way thing. So you see, there's this confliction, which is why like for companies like Google, like they're running a massive operation there, but every Friday they go, okay, do whatever you want, just as long as it's kind of contributing to the company, do whatever you want. They try to lessen the control as much as possible because nobody will stay there if they are being controlled, not at the level that they're playing at.
I want to jump in and say thank you for listening and supporting the show, as at the moment we don't run any ads on the show. And if you're getting value, if you're loving the show, then I invite you right now to share this episode. Share this directly to a friend or share it on your socials. And when you do share it on social, please tag me so I can personally say thank you to you, as it means a huge deal to me, as this show is about us coming together as a community to help each other grow, as I really do believe that a rising tide lifts all ships. So take a screenshot, grab the link and share it with a friend that you think could get value out of this together. It will put a huge smile on my face and I very much appreciate it. I find this really interesting. I love this. And two things come up for me when you talk about that is, one being, we're also, okay, with the thoughts side of things, this has been profound for myself when it comes to literally being able to sit and to be able to witness the thoughts come through my mind and being able to let them go. And I understand if someone listens to us right now and they're like, what? That doesn't make sense. But there was a beauty that's come through specifically from my meditation practice, whereas being able to witness thoughts come up and seeing them unwind by themselves, and then being able to investigate what is a thought and how easy it is for us to become attached to this thought, and it becomes our entire world, until we're able to then step back and come into the now, we could say, and being able to let go of that thought and then being able to understand what really is. Because you said something brilliant before, which was the reality of what this situation actually is, and us not having a story about what that situation is, because there is only what is. And it could be good or bad, but if we let go of kind of labeling or naming something as good or bad and just seeing as what it is, I feel like it liberates us to be able to then be responsible for moving forward with it. Because especially when it comes to control, I remember I was actually in a psychotherapy session with my therapist, and I said something about control, and she came back going, you know, control's an illusion. And I was like, oh, it was the first time I'd ever thought about it that way. And I went, oh my God, it is. Like, we want to have this feeling of control, this feeling of certainty of something wanting to happen. And I'd be interested to know what you think as well, but especially with entrepreneurship, the more ability that I see of an entrepreneur being able to let go of the ability of certainty, the more power they can actually act from.
Yes.
And I feel like that has been profound and something I'm constantly wanting to work and practice towards, is being able to let go of that certainty. And for me, it's very much more of a case of like, I can only control my thoughts and my actions. So if I operate from that, because for me, if I'm having to have the weather be sunshine and rainbows and everything happening just the way that I want it to be in the outside of me, for me to feel happy or good, well, then I'm doomed for a life of suffering, because all of these things outside of myself are causing me not to feel the way that I want to feel. But it was the understanding of I control my thoughts and my actions, and therefore that's where I'm going to put my agency towards, and then coming to an equanimity of what happens outside it.
Kind of. There's like three things I could have jumped in on, and they're all blow into a whole full-blown conversation. I was trying to hold on to it while at the same time.
Go, brother, go.
Present. Thank you. So something that, well, let's go back into one that is really common. And you let me know if you ever heard anybody say this. we talk about being observing our thoughts. Observe our thoughts so this way we become present. That actually doesn't happen. The act of observing a thought actually does not make you present.
Yes, because you're attached to observing the thought.
Even if we're not attached to it, we're observing thought. Observing means we're paying our attention. So in other words, let's say this is thought here.
Yeah.
So attention is here in thought.
Yes.
The thought, the mind, the thought doesn't exist here and now. So therefore, if I'm observing the thought, because I don't want to be controlled by it,
Yes.
right? I don't want to sneak up and do stuff and say, well, by default, now I'm not present. So now we can say split attention, just like what I just did. You were saying things, I held on to a certain thought while I was trying to pay attention to you. So that's what we actually operate in all the time. But the amount of presence versus the amount of thought will determine how we show up. So we talk about, which goes into the control thing. That's why it's like, we talked about interconnection. Like I connect them and I'm like, okay, let me let it go for a second. We'll go one at a time. It's kind of early in the morning, so we'll see how I do at it. So then think about it, right? Everybody's trying to be mindful, but we're mindful because we want to be present. So we're there looking at the thoughts going, oh, okay, right, I'm thinking about this. And oh, right, I have this belief. And yeah, I'm judging on this, wow, okay. And then we go, I want to not be in my mind so this way I can be present. So let me observe the thoughts. So that what happens is they're not present, but they go, man, I'm not present, but it's okay. Let me just keep observing the thoughts so this way I know what's going on. And if I know what's going on here, I can stop these thoughts. So then they just keep looking at the thoughts, but they don't stop the thoughts, that they're just constantly looking at the thoughts. Now, the reality, this is a process. Observing the thoughts is a process of stopping the thoughts, but it is not the end goal. It's just the process. Once we observe the thoughts, we can go, which thoughts are good for my life, they're aligned with where I want to go, and which ones are not. Which ones create problems for me, and which ones don't. So then we start to look at the thoughts and we go, this one's good, oh, this is bad, oh my God, I didn't even know this was happening. And then now we go, okay. So now we decided, all right, so there's certain thoughts that are good, I'm gonna hold on to these. These thoughts I'm gonna stop acting upon, I'm gonna stop reacting on it. When they come, I'm gonna let it kind of come through. I'm not gonna really say anything, I'm just gonna observe it. But now this whole time we're not present. But this is kind of going in the back end and cleaning up the thoughts. So now we practice giving more thoughts to the ones we want to have more of, and the ones that we have less, we just stop debating with it. We stop entertaining it. Once we understand why we don't need it anymore. So one thought is, oh man, I'm a piece of crap. And then we look at it, we go, wait, actually that's not good for me, but I don't know why it's not good for me. So then let me go through the debate, the understanding, let me listen to all this stuff, have conversations, and then I realize, actually, you know what? That's just a judgment. That's just a story. That's not true. So-and-so told me that a long time ago, right? It's not true. So now that's not true and I know it, the thought comes up again. It doesn't just go away. It comes up again and goes, I'm a piece of crap. I don't even need to entertain it. So then I give my energy to everything is fine in my life and I'm going to go and do this now. That's where I think about. That's where I put my energy in. But this thought will keep popping up for a while because it's like an echo. It's like a car that's been driving and we put it on neutral, it's still going to drive. We disable the engine, it still rolls for a while. So then, now at this point, we start to clean up the thoughts. The thoughts are clean, but we're still not present because thoughts are still coming in. So now we go, okay, now that the thoughts are good, now I'm just going to silence them. I'm going to practice silencing them. Why don't we just do this in the beginning? Well, if we silence the thoughts without cleaning them up, they don't stay silent all the time because we work, we engage, we analyze, we judge, we do stuff. So therefore, thoughts are there for us to create. So we create. So then when we need to create and we didn't clean up the thoughts, now we are throwing up. We are using all of the thoughts that are not good for our life. So therefore, it's time to create. We are not creating in the way we want. And then when we try to stop the thoughts, we can try to silence them, but our life is chaotic because when we do create, we create not good stuff for us. So then what we do is we first go ahead and clean up the thoughts. And then now that we clean it up, now let's go ahead and silence it. And then when they do start up, they're good for us. And when they don't need to start up, they're silenced on the first level, the level one, the internal conversation. So that going back to what we were saying, we only have control over our thoughts and our actions. So only if we are technically we can control our thoughts and our actions, but we don't want to. That's the thing. I had to think about it because it's tricky. It's not something that's talked about in this way.
Yes.
You don't hear the people say this. And that's the thing. This is why it's so confusing, because people aren't saying these things, because once we dive into the minute details, we go, wait, this is not what I've learned. This is not what people are talking about. But let's dive into this specific statement. We can control our thoughts and our actions, I think, etc., but we don't want to. Because the moment when we start to control our thoughts and our actions, we have to be aware of self. We have to be aware of ourselves.
Yes.
And the moment when we are aware of ourselves now, or we have to judge our things. We have to judge our actions if we want to control them. We have to judge our thoughts if we want to control them. So I want to think this right now. I want to say these things. But to think about saying certain things, why would I need to say it? I need to decide, is this good for this podcast? Is this bad for the podcast? How am I sitting? Should I wear shoes? Or how should I control my action? How should I control the way? Now I have to go ahead and judge my expression. Yeah. Now this judging expression will come out in two ways, which is I have to look at it as good or bad. And what happens if I see it and I go, I don't like it? Now I have to change it. I have to think this is bad. When I have to think good or bad, now I'm in my head.
Yeah.
Now I'm not present. Yeah. So then now if we're present, then what happens? Then that means I'm not fully here expressing. I'm not fully here listening to you. I'm not fully here talking to anybody. I'm partially here and partially here. And again, depending on how present I am is how much I can actually see what's really going on and fully express. Because I can't fully express if my attention is here in the background. It's like I can't fully show up if I'm kind of halfway out the door. So therefore, we don't want to control ourselves. But we can't just right off do that. It's just like we don't want to constantly think. We need to silence our mind. But if we just do that right in the beginning when we have a lot of stuff in our head that isn't good, it will cause problems. Same with this. We have to start off by first controlling ourselves, cleaning up our actions and our habits and stuff. And then once we clean it up, we let go of control and we are free to go ahead and do all this stuff, because whatever it is that we're freely doing is helping us go the direction that we like to go. Yeah. But if we just did that right off the bat, we do some silly stuff.
I really appreciate the nuance and the way you're able to communicate that. That's really good. How does, I'm super interested in this. We were talking a few days ago with your journey, how you exited a business and then you went into knowledge, mastery, learning deep into it, and you've only recently then started to come back. Yeah. I'm super interested to know what lessons and principles you've learned from the business before to then being able to decide I'm going to go deep into this, and the hows and the whys, to then, okay, now I'm going to operate with this new business moving forward, having had the lessons learned before.
So the information I knew about business before allowed me to go ahead and build a business and be successful in that. But it also allowed me to go ahead and create a lot of anger and bad habits and all this stuff. So when I realized I want to make a change, I didn't know what to change. Because if I knew what to change, I would have gotten there already. Yeah. Right. So then here I am. So then what I did was I decided, you know what? I'm going to go start from scratch. Yeah. So I erased everything in my mind. And I just started from scratch. So that means I let go of my value systems on all levels. I dated this woman that was not my type, which ended up being like the best thing ever. Yeah. I did things that I would never do ever, and all of this stuff because I let go of all of my beliefs, my values, and what I thought was right and wrong, and all this stuff. And I just started to experiment. Just became totally beginner's mind. Even though just recently I'm like managing a lot of people, doing a lot of stuff, I just let that go. And then slowly I started to pick up things that I knew from business, but it was like I had to almost relearn it. But it was much faster because I just kind of remembered, but I'm very dull. I'm not sharp at it, you know? It's like general, yes, but once it's the action, it's like, how do I do that? How do I do that? So But that's what I did. And I took the things that I knew from before that worked, and I combined it with things that I learned. And the way that I learned is to be honest, I never had a mentor or coach or a real teacher. There was one guy that was probably the closest to a teacher because we worked together for about maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And that was like Rennie Davis. He's an older guy. Did some very impactful things in his life. If you type in Rennie Davis, it'll show up all over Google. And he helped stop like the Vietnam War.
Wow.
And so he's been around. Like, talk about connections. Like, the guy like pulled in all these groups, like like the Black Panther guys and like the gays and all this, and to start that whole thing that rippled into the war stuff.
Wow.
So that's like, we're operating in business with people, customers. They're operating in like groups and country
Culture,
change, all this stuff. So he had his journey, and we just became a mastery. And there was one thing that he told me then that didn't click until many years later. And now I'm saying the same thing, but when he said it, I'm like, right, but I didn't really understand it.
If you've made it this far, seriously, thank you. I appreciate you being here. But real quick, if you are a coach or consultant who wants to be able to build a self-growing business without bloated team, a big ad budget, or working more than 3 hours a day, then make sure that you hit subscribe, because everything I share here is built for founders just like you, because it's likely that you are done chasing bigger and ready to build better. So let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Now fast forward 6 years later, I go, oh yeah, Rennie was right.
What was it? Hola, I want to say a big thank you, muchas gracias, for listening to the show. Now, really quickly, this show is growing, and it's all thanks to the ratings and reviews. So really quickly, I want to ask, if you have not left a review for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else that you listen, take the 30 seconds, please click on over, leave a review, as I really want to hear from you. And I want to know what is the best thing so I can cover in future episodes, what guests to bring in, what questions can I answer for you, what is it that you're getting out of being a part of this show as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this show's success. Thank you so much for clicking over, leaving a review. Now let's get back to the episode.
It's all about the specificity. It's about the specifics. And where we want to go, we have to be very, very, very specific. If we look at it in business, it's getting started in business is not specific, but to be successful in business is, right? And that's the same thing with inner work, with being the best versions of ourselves, with learning how to do these things. It's very, very specific. If we're off in something small that doesn't seem to be significant, we're lost. We literally missed it completely. So I've done that a lot. I've been off plenty of times. So therefore, I spent full time, all of my time. I didn't do much work, like I was saying. I started this business that's kind of like, I spend part time. I don't operate off a schedule. I'm not making much money. It's just barely even surviving. I'm having to take money out of savings every month. Yeah. And I live in Bali, so it shows how much money I'm making.
Yeah.
It's just so I can go ahead and find a median to go ahead and contribute. And that was pretty much about it. And I spent all my other time developing myself, learning concepts, applying, experimenting, and testing out big questions and very, very specific things because I wanted to know. I wanted to go ahead and master these things within myself, and I wanted to know the truth and how to do things to get the results that we all want. Everybody wants basically the same things that we're talking about. So over time, doing this over and over and over and over, things started to click. Things started to make sense. And I came back. I came back into business 2.5 years after I sold my company because I'm like, okay, I think it's ready. I'm ready to share it. I know enough information to where I can talk intelligently about the subject. Yes. Like I'm talking now. Like nobody would go, he doesn't know enough. No, I know enough. I can talk about that conversation with anybody. But inside, I wasn't actually living it. I wasn't the example of it. Partially, but not fully. So I knew that there's something else that I need to do. Now, I can do this part-time and then the other part go ahead and start making content and start sharing and I can create programs and people will buy because I understand marketing, all this. Or I can go all in and not do that and go all in and spend all of my time and energy and just go into borderline obsession mode and figure this out. And so I ask myself, well, what's important for me? Do I really need the money? No. Okay. So what do I really want? I want to figure this out. Okay. And so then I let it go. I made like maybe 50, 60 videos and then I stopped. And so then I disappeared. So I disappeared for like maybe 8, 9 months, came on for like, another year, and then I'm gone for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I went in again, and this time deeper and deeper and deeper and experimenting and all this stuff. And then fast forward about maybe 8, 9 months ago is when I decided, okay, I know enough to where I'm ready to fully share, and I'm the example enough. It's not perfect. I know the next progression for me, but I can tell when there's a balance of, if somebody gets to where I'm at, will they be happy? Oh, yes. Will they be exceptional and be able to do everything they want? Yes. Will they have perfection? No, they will not. But most people may not even care to go any farther than where I'm at right now.
Yes.
So therefore, that means I can share confidently about all these things and be able to help people connect whatever dots is needed.
I appreciate so much the immersion that you put yourself in, and the like coming back and then going back in and being like, no. I've got to go back into the incubator. Do you know what I mean? I've got to cook this even more. I've got to master this even more. I need to be able to develop this within myself even more. So I really appreciate that, because there is a huge element of cojones that is needed to be able to do that as well. So thank you for doing that, because I'm able to reap the rewards of you being able to share this as well with so many others also.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people sharing, I would actually more say regurgitating information that they've consumed elsewhere, and they haven't put it into a actual practical done it themselves. There's like a knowing with a K, but there's not the gnosis, the with the G, the knowing it within inside and truly having mastery and wisdom with it that you've been able to apply. And I say that because I want to say that so it bounces off and comes back to myself as well, because that is the level in which I want to have upon myself also. And that's very much for myself, like in this season of my life, it's having just sold the company, now wanting to do this. It's me wanting to document my journey, but also selfishly wanting to be able to learn, because then I want to be able to learn, practice, ingrain, and then be able to share moving forward from there as well.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you. In short, I just want to say thank you for doing that. I think that's profound.
And that approach it's good. It's good, and it works only if a person does not get attached to the results of sharing. Because what happens when we share? People go share some more, and then they go, hey, create this. If we don't get attached to the sharing, then the sharing becomes a outlet that speeds up our process.
Yes.
The sharing becomes a outlet for you to connect to people, to learn at lightning speeds.
Yeah.
If we don't get attached to the sharing and learning, and that's really difficult. So I was on the call with my students. We did like a 2.5-hour coaching yesterday, and we dived into all of this. Attachment is not by choice. Nobody goes, I'm gonna be attached now.
Yeah.
Attachment is something that happens. It happens, and this is the way it happens. The more attention we give to ourselves, the more we think about ourselves, the more attached we become in whatever we do. Doesn't even matter. So an example is, if somebody goes, I want to share information with people. And okay, great. So right now, sharing information, that's putting out information for what? For other people, for them to learn, for them to gain this wisdom, for them to know the experiences to help them in their life. Okay, so now what do I need to do that? So there's kind of these 3 aspects. There's the action I need to do, sharing, and then there's the outcome, which is what people are going to receive. Now, if all 3 of this is needed, if I don't give any attention to I, well, then there's no sharing that can happen. There's no action, right? I'm taking action. But how much attention we give to ourself versus the action that we do versus the outcome that people are receiving, the value, will determine the level of attachment. So if I want to go and take action and I'm going to share, okay, and then it's going to help these people. And I put a lot of attention to myself because I want to share in a certain way. I want the share to come out in a certain way. I want to be able to get this outcome. I want to sound like this. I want to be able to connect with these people and all of this. This has nothing to do with just action. This is about what I want.
Yeah.
So that attention's on me. But on the outside, I'm still sharing. People are receiving, and then I'm here doing the work. But if my attention is here, I get attached by default. And so if we look at 100% amount of attention, out of 100%, if let's say I'm giving 65% to what I want, how I want to do it, and all this stuff, we're in this process of sharing and helping, 65% here, and let's say 20% here, which leaves 15% for other people, then that means 60% is always about like, well, how do I want to appear when I'm sharing? And do I like the sharing and all this stuff, the outcome of it? And then the 25% here on, okay, now let me do the action. Let me go set up the cams. Let me go show up and do this, write these things, make the videos. And let me go and look and see how people are receiving it. What type of value are they getting, and what things do they need to hear so this way they can improve their life.
Yep.
If it's like this, then we are at a level of attachment, not a very, very high level, but a high enough level to where we get bothered if we don't get outcomes that we want.
Yes.
Now, if this was, let's say, something like a 85%, 10 and 5, then we're looking at a person that's all about me. And they do the bare minimum, pretty much a little above the bare minimum on the action to support and give to other people, just so they can receive in all kinds of ways, whether this is money or this is recognition or fame or significance, whatever it is. Now they are really, really attached to everything that they do. And the way they show up this way is also the way they show up in everything else. So now you plug this model into a relationship, this becomes action, this becomes their partner or their children, right? Or their friends, and this is them. And if they keep thinking, what are you going to do for me? What are these people going to do for me? How is this restaurant going to serve me? If I go to this event, what do I get out of it? Right?
Yeah.
Now they will be attached. That's how attachment happens, because they keep focusing on themselves. They keep putting their attention to themselves.
Yep.
So how do we become unattached? Becomes obvious now. Put the attention towards action, mostly on action, and enough of it on the people that are receiving the action, receiving the benefits of it, and the bare minimum on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then now all of the basic functional stuff like food, shelter, getting our movement in, rest, having date night with our partners. We set up a system so then this way it runs automatically, so we don't have to spend so much attention on ourselves trying to better our life. Our life runs on automatic on the personal side. So now personal side also means our family as well, right? Contributing. So then we can spend our time and our action and most of our energy taking action and make sure this action is providing value for the people we want to serve, whether this is family, kids, customers, friends, everybody outside of us. Now we don't get attached. Now we don't become self-conscious, because to become self-conscious, we got to think about ourselves.
Yeah.
We are free.
Yeah.
We're not in our own head. We're not stopping ourselves because we have to think about ourselves in order to stop ourselves. This simple little model here took me many years to realize, oh, right, it kind of works like that.
I love this so much. So there's two things that jump into my head as well when it comes to this is I'm going to attribute to Warren Buffett, and I think it's like, show me the incentive and I'll show you the results, which I want to think about that often, because I very much think, not just it very much helping in the business concept, but it was like doing like, what's my incentive? What's your incentive? And I want to think about what the incentives are of all the different players so that we can align them for the best ability as well. And then I'm pretty sure it was the Buddha that said, the success of an action is not the outcome of it, it is the motivation behind it. And so where am I coming from? What's the motivation of me doing this? What's the motivation of me wanting to actually record? Do you mean have a film crew, sit down, do this? Like, what's the actual motivation? What's the incentive of me wanting to be able to do this and aligning that? And I think it's called audience capture, where it's a content creator gets caught up in the wanting to serve and give what the audience is asking for and wanting, rather than from where they're wanting to come from. And that's where I'm wanting to think about this consciously and be like, okay, how do I best serve the audience and give you what you want? But then also, how do I say to my truest self as well? And so what's my incentive? What's your incentive? And like, where are these motivations coming from? So I think that's really profound. I love that model that you talk about, because then it does turn into a flywheel. It does become a virtuous cycle for it to get better and better as well.
Right. And see that the last part of how do I stay true to myself, you see, how do we even gauge that?
Yeah.
Like that's a made up thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's almost like, I want to make sure I do something that I like, but then your likeness can change as
Very fluid.
quick as the weather. And again, you see this in people. You know, you've helped so many people grow their business. You see, well, they want to do this one day and they want to do this the other day or the next month or the next year because they like it, because they change their mind. So therefore, because they're always in their head thinking about them, they're not thinking about what am I actually contributing to the customer. They keep thinking, what do I like? So therefore, it can change like the wind.
Yeah, that's profound.
So we let go of the idea that we are true to ourselves, because that's the same thing as what I like. And we just wrap another shiny, wrapping around it.
I love that you saw that. That's really great. And how do you apply that for yourself moving forward? Like, how does that get applied, say, inside of your business or with family or what it is that you do on a daily day?
So I have family days, right? I think every Sunday.
Yep.
I work from home, so then I see my wife and son all the time.
Yep.
My wife is in the business, so we are always seeing each other. I'm aware of what's happening, so when I'm in business mode and I realize I'm too much in it, I can see that she's like, okay, this is too much. You're the father of my son, and then you're talking to me like I'm some team member, and I'll catch it, and then I'll slow it down. So I'm observing it. So this way we create balance. And, I'm always, even though I have work that's very high in priority, because there's only certain things that I can do and no one else can do, but when she asks me for things, no matter if it's small or big, it doesn't matter. I run to go ahead and get it done, the best of my capacity. Can you do this? And now she knows. So she goes, hey, can you do this? But you don't have to do it now, because she knows the moment she tells me I'm gone and I'm back in 2 minutes, it's done. Yeah. She's like, okay, can you do it? And I'm gone already. I come back. So she's like, no, do it now. And that's good, because she knows it's like whatever her request is, I'm there to serve. And it just so happens that her love language is very similar to mine, and it's physical touch and acts of service. And so she knows, like, yeah, Mike loves me because he's always doing whatever I want him to do.
Yeah.
Whatever I ask, big or small, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we balance it out. Still working at it, because my son's only 6 months old.
Well, I appreciate you using that as an example, because Lauren, my wife, she was in the business also, and it was very much how do we make this work and there were times that the relationship felt like it was a business partnership and a housemate.
Yes.
And then us coming together and be like, this doesn't feel right. Like, this is wrong. Like, we need to fix this. And how do we fix this? And how do we change it around? And so I really appreciate you sharing that, because it's something that I've wanted to be able to speak more to as well, because I feel like, especially if couples are working together, how do you still keep the love in the relationship? And how do you still keep a marriage, the friendship, and the work relationship as the work relationship as well, and to be able to have them work together? I found it difficult. And many times I found that very, very difficult, because there would be, I would hear it in my voice. I was like, I'm talking to her like she's a team member.
Yeah.
This is the woman of my dreams. This is the mother to my children. This is my wife. I want to absolutely devote and serve this woman, but what's coming out of my mouth right now is not serving that whatsoever as well. So it was very interesting, me coming to how that can happen. And for us, it was actually setting key times. There was actually two things. For a practical standpoint, there was 2 key meetings that we would have each week in which that's when we would talk work, because what we found was there was a bleeding of work into the rest of the day. And it was like, hang on, us sitting, like, let's say I've just put the girls to bed and then I walk downstairs and she asked me a business question. And I was like, whoa, hold up. Like, no. And again, vice versa, I couldn't be doing things like that as well. So there was 2 key times, Mondays and Thursdays, where we would have like this 30-minute get together. And also what I found significant was if things would come up during the day, things that bugged me, things that I don't like that because of Y reason, we would keep that to ourselves and then bring it to each other later to be able to work through it. And it was incredible how just the not letting it come out of me in the moment actually gave me the time and space where it was like, later on, it didn't matter. And I didn't need to have to work through anything. It was just like, in a moment, I perceived something that was my problem at the end of the day. And by me not having to like just verbally diarrhea it back onto Lauren, then when it came time for us to bring it together and talk about it, it was a non-event anyway. So there were 2 things that were actually really helpful.
Remember what we just talked about earlier of when we have to control our actions or our thoughts, and the connection, it happens. If we did it that way, like what you and your wife did, then essentially you have to control your thoughts. And she has to as well. You have to control your action on what you say. And there's an obvious reason, because if not, you'd be talking about work all the time because you guys are teammates. So then what is actually so bad? What is the negative outcome of that? And I think we just covered a little bit of it, which is we called it, you're talking to her like a teammate. So let's dive into the specificity of this.
Yeah.
What does that really mean?
Yeah.
Right. And what that means is, so there's a sense of respect. There's a sense of love and closeness, intimacy that you have with your wife that you do not have with your teammates. To maintain that is very important for the relationship, So when you say I'm talking to her like a teammate, basically you're saying I'm talking to her without the consideration of those things, without those things being present, right? And then you feel it. Oh, we don't have that. We're starting to lose that part that actually makes us a couple, a husband and wife and a family. So. But we like to have the dynamic, the perfect scenario of my wife, is my teammate. She's always here. She's like, I can fully trust her. She's not going to just quit on me. It doesn't work that way. And also, especially for businesses starting up, the cost of the employees are much lower, right? Versus how much you have to pay per person on this. So what would happen if we talk to them in the same way that we talk to them as a wife, as a partner, but we talked about business? Only when desired. It's not like you have to, right? So now, when you have something on your mind, you talk about it. When she has something on her mind, she talks about it. And there's no box. There's no restriction. And if you don't feel like talking about it, you can go, she goes, hey, I got this idea. You go, let's talk about it later. She goes, okay, right.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. It just kind of flows. But if she's excited about something, you're excited about something, then you guys talk about it.
Yeah.
Like but imagine if you operate in the box, no, we can't. Yeah. It's not the right day or time.
Boundaries are limiting the creation that can come forth.
Right. And so, but then there's always like stages in business. There's stages in this development. If somebody is not able to be unattached to the outcome of things, then they won't be able to do this approach. They would have to set up the boundaries, because if not, then when they talk, they're not going to bring in that sense of lovingness and intimacy, and therefore they'll ruin their relationship, which happens to a lot of couples.
Yeah.
So they have to go ahead and set up the boundaries in the beginning until they don't need the boundaries anymore, because they're not attached to the outcome and they're able to just freely flow with things and not judge all the stuff. Because that's the ultimate thing. Now we're free.
Yeah.
You see, because she might want to talk about this 24/7.
Yeah.
She's like so excited,
Yeah.
and you might as well. but maybe not all the time. But when you don't, you just go, not right now. She goes, okay. Because she's not attached to it, or vice versa. Hey, honey, I got a great idea. I just put the kids to bed, Chris. Oh, right. Okay. Later or tomorrow. She goes, yes, tomorrow. Got it. Not, but, you're my this and that. Right? No, none of that. She said it, and you go, okay, you're not attached. You see, now we just flow.
You have a brilliant ability to pierce through the veil to get to truth really well. I really appreciate that. This conversation has just been remarkable, and I'm just loving it. And it's so interesting doing this, because it's brilliant that we've actually talked about it meta. You're talking, I'm going, wow, that's really good. There's a part of me that's wanting to learn and be no, actually, I'm just going to rewatch this and listen to this later and take it from that point of view so I can be present in this conversation. But then also, being able to then come back and ask questions and continue the conversation to mold.
I know exactly what
that feeling as well. There's 3 parts that are pulling right now, and I'm God damn it, this is amazing. So yeah, dude, I really appreciate that. That's really cool. Where does everyone go to find out more about yourself, Mike, what you're doing, and to be able to drink of this fountain of wisdom that you are?
Social media is probably the best one. Mike Chang. They type my name on YouTube. And Instagram, Mike Chang Official.
Beautiful.
And if they want to learn more about programs that I do, flow60.com.
Flow60.com. Okay, brilliant. I'm going to put all of that into the show notes so you'll be able to go down below to get access to it. Thank you so much, Mike. This has been an absolute honor. I really love, respect you, and admire you. You're doing incredible work, both of the work that you're doing, but as the man as you are as well, I want to see and honor you for that. So just
thank you.
Thank you. It's brilliant.
All right, that's it for today. And if this did hit home for you today, and if you are building a business that's meant to give you more money and more freedom, then I want you to be able to do 2 things before you go. 1, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. It would be a bummer if you missed out on everything else to come. Number 2, grab the link in the description and be able to book in your free demo so you can see the exact systems, the exact process, and you can be able to install it inside of your business. Because remember, this channel is for coaches and creators who want a daily income, simple systems, and to be able to take time off. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.